Good morning everyone, my name is Baclas, and on this discussion, me and my partner Carlo Diocera will be going to discuss about the gender and sexual orientation. So before I proceed, I will tell first the learning outcomes of this topic. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to be able to do the following. Explain the meaning of gender, gender identity, and gender expression. Discuss sexual orientation, its different categories and possible contributing factors, and explain the multi-dimensional view of the sexual self. So, as we encounter the word gender, we already know what it is. But for this lesson, I will going to discuss its definition or the ideas of different people. So, according to Myers and Trench in 2017, that gender is a term that is used to describe the characteristics, whether biology or socially influenced, that people use to define males and females. Ratus also said that in 2014 that it is shaped by cultural expectations and social roles that affects people's self-concept, behaviors, and aspirations. And we basically learn about our gender and to act accordingly, that is based on our gender rules through a lifelong socialization. So, ang gender daw is socially constructed characteristics of men and women such as norms and behaviors. Example ani kay mo na to babae or lalaki, mga LGBTQ community. And gender is traditionally understood based on binary categories, which is the male or masculine and the female or feminine. So in this table, we will going to determine the gender identity terminologies, which is the number one, the cisgender. Cisgender is a male or female that is identifies with the sex that was assigned at birth. Cisgender people also identify to some degree with the gender norms excluding sexual orientation that are associated with their sex. So cisgender people are those whose gender identity corresponds to their sex assigned at birth. Like for example, if babae ka gipanganak, babae pud imuhang na feel, or kanang straight ka ba, dili ka, wala kay laing na feel nga lalaki ka, something in ana. Bali kung unsa jud ang imuhang gender atong pagpanganak nimo, mao jud siya hantud pagdako nimo. So the other one is the gender queer. It is used to describe a gender identity when the binary conceptualization of gender, male or female, does not accurately describe an individual's gender outlook or self-concept. So, ang other term nga ginagamit anang gender queer is umbrella for gender identities that are not solely male or female. Identities that are outside the gender binary. Example ani is babae ka pero imong suot lihok kay panlalaki, baligi na identify nimo or expressing yourself beyond what is often linked to the sex or gender you are assigned at birth. So the next one is the intersex, which is describe a variety of medical conditions wherein individuals' reproductive anatomy or genitals do not fit the binary definition of male or female. Like for example, if nakahinomdom mo atong PBB amboton sa to na season ng naay ni apil ato nga kambal, which is the C4th and C5th, and then tong isa sa ilaha si 5th kay kanang iyahang ari is duha, which is babae or lalaki, something inana. And then dili niya ma-determine og unsa siya, babae ba siya lalaki, pero ginapakita niya karon nga dili siya pareha ni fourth nga lalaki jud si fourth. Si fifth is kanang na siya pagkabalion ba, bali inborn na jud niya nga pag anak jud sa iyaha duha jud iyang ari, ang dili nimo ma-identify kung lalaki ba jud siya or babae. So The fourth one is the transgender. Transgender man or female to a man. Kanang is a man whose sex is female but he lives and identifies as male. Kabalo naman taan kung unsa ning transgender man nga gikan sa babae nahimong lalaki. Example na ako si Charis Pengpeng ko, di ba? O mas ilado na karon or mas naila na siya karon as Jake Zyrus kay gikan siya sa babae, nahimo siyang lalaki kaya nagpa-transgender siya, nagpa-change siya sex niya, nagpa-change siya tanan. And then the last one is the transgender woman, male to female. Is a woman whose sex is male but she lives and identifies as female. Like for example, si Raston Padilla nya, ang iyahang name na karon is Binibining Gandang Hari, which is gikan siya sa male, nagpa-change siya o kanang gender into woman or female. So the next one is the gender expression. Gender expression is the manner by which people express themselves and behave may be true to their gender identity, such as when they convey their sense of femininity or masculinity outwardly. This may occur naturally for the majority that their actions are effortless. There are some people whose gender expression does not match their gender identity and who are more comfortable presenting themselves as an opposite sex. So, ang gender expression is how a person publicly expresses or present their gender. Mga ways of expressing their gender ba, like for example, kay babae man ko, so babae po akong ginapakita sa ubang tao, or lalaki man ko, so lalaki po akong ginapakita sa ubang tao, or Becky man ko, gay man ko, so gay po ang ako ang ginapakita sa ubang tao. Kayang baligi unsa nimo pag-express ang imuhang sarili sa ubang tao. So in the next slide, you will going to know the different sexual orientation terminologies and the different factors contributing to sexual orientation. And my partner, Carlo J. Diocera, will be the one to report it. So, that's all. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Carlo J. L. Diocera, and this is the continuation of our topic in Lesson 2. And now let's proceed to sexual orientation. So what is sexual orientation? It refers to the stable pattern of attraction or sexual interest that one has to a member of a particular sex. So when we say pattern, stable pattern of attraction or sexual interest is that this is how a person attracts to its opposite gender. So just like a man who attracted to woman and a woman who's attracted to men. So it should not be mistaken as sexual behavior because they are not necessarily the same. So there's a huge difference between sexual behavior and orientation, because sexual behavior can be defined as the quality or state of being sexual, or means inappropriate physical contact or communication of sexual nature. So majority of the people have heterosexual orientation, that is their sexual interest is towards people of the opposite sex. So when we say heterosexual, is that this is those person who orient themselves as a straight person, just like a man and a woman. Others have homosexual, in which their sexual romantic interest are with same-sex individuals and they are either gay or lesbian. So the biggest example of homosexuality is those LGBT persons, which is lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgender persons. And now we have the sexual orientation terminologies. So first we have the asexual. So asexuals refers to the absence of physical or sexual attractions to another human being. And a sexual man or woman can have romantic, intellectual, or emotional attractions to other people, but they do not engage in physical sexual acts. So asexual, these are those person who attract to opposite gender romantically, intellectual, or just emotional. Asexual didn't attract sexual behavior, or in a particular relationship, asexual didn't admire a sex or no sex involved at all. And now bisexual. So bisexual is sexual orientation that describes either a male or a female who is attracted to both males and females. So practically, bisexuals can create a feelings either it's romantically or sexually to both opposite gender. So gay is, depending on the context, gay can refer to either gay males and or lesbians. Gay males are self-identified men who attracted emotionally, physically, romantically, and or so sexually attracted to people who identify as a male. So gay persons identify themselves as a male, but they attracted to male also, like male to male. And now, lesbian, a self-identified female who is emotionally, physically, romantically, and also sexually attracted to other people who identified as a female. So just like the gay, lesbian is they identify themselves as a female, but they attracted to their same gender, like female to female. So now we have the heterosexual. So this is an individual who identifies as either a male or female, can be cisgender or a FTM or MTF, and is attracted to individuals of the opposite sex. So when we say heterosexual, this is those persons who orient themselves as a straight person, just like what I've told lately, like male to female and female to male. And now we have the queer. So queer is an umbrella term that is used to describe an individual's self-concept of their sexual orientation. So queer is an umbrella term for people who are not heterosexual or cisgender. Originally meaning queer is strange or peculiar. So next slide, we have the factors contributing to sexual orientation. So when it comes to sexual orientation, there are two factors. We have the biological factor and environmental factor. But let me introduce to you what is factors contributing to sexual orientation. So sexual orientation has been examined for the nature and nurture perspective. So nature is what people think of as pre-wiring and is influenced by genetic inheritance and other biological factors. And nurture is generally taken as the influence of external factors, or based on the biological makeup of the individual and environmental influences. So now let's proceed to biological factor when it comes to sexual orientation. So this is a line of investigation that is increasingly anchored, explained about homosexuality is on the fraternal order effect. So sometimes homosexuality began or started because of the fraternal birth order effect of a certain mother. So the explanation for this is the maternal immune hypothesis, in which there are some mothers who become progressively immune to masculinizing hormones as they bear male fetuses, and such hormones may be deactivated in the later pregnancies of their sons. So according to this hypothesis, antibodies produced by a mother pass through the placental barrier to the fetus and affect aspects of a sexual differentiation in the fetal brain. So to simplify, for the biological factor, being a homosexual is sometimes because of the antibodies passed to our parents or mother when she giving birth to us or to a certain child. So next, we have the environmental factor when it comes to sexual orientation. So this is the social cognitive theorists provide explanation for how sexual orientation could possibly develop. They particularly look into the antecedents and consequences of the behavior. So these factors focuses on how the sexuality adapt the environment or the society where we live. So according to a person's daily lives. So they look into the process of observational and experiential learning. Some of the theories for homosexual orientation include early exposure to unenjoyable male to female or female to female or male to male or female to female sexual encounters, the inavailability of sexual partner of the opposite sex in one's cultural group, or as reported by some, an experience of a child sexual abuse by someone with the same gender that influences their own sexual orientation. So the environmental factor, it proves that the reason of being homosexual is sometimes because of the past experiences of a child regarding sex abuse with the same gender, or how person enjoyed sexual encounters or activities with the same gender. And now we have the multidimensional view of the sexual self. So first we have the general expectation is that individuals will identify their biological sex based on their inherited XY and XX chromosomes and the sexual gendered roles. So specifically, individuals supposed to have two genders. These are the XY and XX chromosomes, or male and female. Next is establish their gender identity based on their gendered roles. So establish their gender identity or enhancing someone's sexuality based on their gendered roles. So either homosexual or heterosexual must establish their gender identity. So just like a girl turn into a grown woman, enhancing her look, the way she dress up, and maybe the way she move. So next is be attracted towards to opposite sex. So be heterosexual in romantic relationship. So in multidimensional view, you can be attracted romantically to opposite sex, or female to male and male to female. And lastly is that express themselves based on cultural norms. So what is cultural norms? Cultural norms, rules, or expectations of behavior and thoughts based on shared beliefs within a specific cultural or social group. Or we should express our social self based on the behavior and the beliefs in the society or environment where we live. And that is the end of my topic. Thank you so much.